If you can just get these 3 things right, you are going to be 100% set up to absolutely crush it this year in Google Ads. In this video, I'll be condensing down what I've learned from scaling over 100, 6, 7, 8, and even 9-figure e-commerce brands that have collectively spent over $500 million to drive over $1 billion in revenue across the board. And I'm putting this all in one video in a 3-part framework that I would personally use if I was starting Google Ads this year. And the best part is it doesn't even matter if you're a beginner, intermediate, or a veteran in Google Ads, whether you're spending $0 or hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month, because what I cover in this video is going to help save you and many others hundreds of hours in time and hopefully hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost ad spend. Level 1 is just go. This is setting the foundation for building your ad account so that it can grow steadily over time and you don't make mistakes along the way. Level 1 is packed with non-negotiables. Non-negotiables in the sense of if you don't do these, you are completely screwing yourself for the future. So don't be lazy on anything in level 1. And if you're already an advanced marketer here, go back to level 1 and make sure you're ticking all of these boxes. Now, I like to lay the foundation here in level 1 because one of the biggest hurdles that I see when people consider actually running Google Ads is they're just intimidated by the platform. It is way more complicated than something like Facebook ads or even TikTok ads. The first and most important principle here is click the button and get started. You need to sign up. You need to get rolling. And the very first thing you need to make sure you're doing perfectly is setting up your tracking. So whether you are using Shopify or really any other e-commerce platform, they basically all have native integrations that hook up directly with Google Ads so that all of your conversion tracking can be set. And before you just say, yes, click the button and all my conversion tracking is good, test it. Go to the pixel tag helper and actually test to make sure your tracking is good. Fire off 3 or 4 test purchases, add some items to cart, see what happens and check every single event. You want to make sure that this is firing 99% of the time with accuracy. The next thing I do right after I get tracking done is I would set up my feed in Merchant Center. Now you're going to need to sign up for Google Merchant Center. This is standard. This is a non-negotiable. Google Merchant Center is where you're going to host your feed so that your products could actually be imported properly from Shopify or from your e-commerce store into Google Ads. If you don't do this, you are stuck just using search ads, or you might not even be able to use half of the products that are available these days because almost everything ties into the shopping feed. And as an e-commerce business, this is the #1 most important fundamental, is to actually show the products, of course, that you're selling. Hook up Merchant Center and make sure you use, again, a native integration between Shopify or your e-com platform and Merchant Center so that you have your feed connected from Shopify to your Merchant Center to your Google Ads account. And after my first 2 foundations are set, the next thing I'm going to do is keep it really simple and build one of the most standard campaign structures possible. In fact, it's not even a structure because it's one single campaign. If I am literally just starting and I'm spending something like $50 to $100 to $150 a day, I'm just setting up one single Performance Max campaign. There's 100,000 different complicated setups, many of which I go through on this channel. But if you're just starting, if you're spending $50 or $150, for me personally, I would just run one PMax campaign. It sounds crazy, but we literally have clients that we manage right now that only spend a couple $100 on Google and spend a boatload more on Facebook. And all we do for those clients where they're spending a lot on Facebook and just a little on Google is we run 1 or 2 very simple campaigns. That's completely okay. Do not overcomplicate. Do not spread out your budget too thin or you will hurt yourself. Now, when you go to build out this Performance Max campaign, I don't want you to flood it with all of your products or even flood it with a bunch of different angles and a bunch of different creative. Keep it as simple as possible. Keep it simple, stupid is the theme we are using in level 1. So within this level, within this Performance Max campaign, the only thing I want you to focus on is the top 20% of your catalog or your products that drive 80% of your sales. And if you're just starting out, then go ahead and take what you believe is going to be your flagship product. It is so important here that we don't overload Google with 100 or 200 or 300 products. Ideally, we have a very small catalog for just starting out. This is where it's acquiring its first round of signals. It's aggregating data on just a few products. And the more condensed your product catalog is here, the more signal density you're going to have, which is a complicated topic, but a very important one for actually allowing Google to work. And finally, the last part of level 1, which is so important. I would set my budget really small. The more important topic here, the really key of this setting the budget is really that you're setting a budget that you're comfortable with. And I know everyone wants me to give a number. Everyone wants me to say, you have to have $100. You have to be spending $1,000 or something like that. Set what you actually can afford to lose, especially in the beginning. Google takes time to warm up. We've had clients that were only spending $200, $300, $400, $500 a day in Google Ads, hardly breaking even on their return on ad spend, that are now spending multi-thousands every single day, well beyond their break even. And it's not magic, right? The algorithm is a AI generated algorithm that's trying to find the best people to purchase your product. It needs to figure it out over time. Just like we would treat that algorithm, we need to treat our budget like this too. Set it to a simple budget that you know for sure you'll be okay losing, and ideally it's not a loss. Ideally you start to break even as quickly as possible. And of course, level 1 isn't complete unless we actually launch our campaigns. Launch that Performance Max campaign, launch those ad sets, launch those asset groups, get live. See your products in the feed, in the live environment. Go on Google yourself, search for your product, try to find it, click on it. Don't worry if you waste a few dollars. It's not going to kill you in the end here. The most important part is that we are live, we're functioning, we're seeing what things feel and look like, and comparing ourselves to our competitors. That is really, really, really important and caps off level 1. Level 2 is called Optimize. We've launched our most simple setup possible, and at least 2 weeks have gone by, so we've gathered some data. And the first thing we're going to do now is actually deep dive that data. So the first thing I would do in level 2 is actually unwrap what on earth is going on. Where is my money being spent? What search terms are they spending on? What ads are driving the most purchases? What are driving the most add to carts? What are driving the most clicks? Just keep it as simple as possible and unwrap all of that data. I'd highly recommend at this stage you write it down. Make sure you have some sort of ledger that actually allows you to see once you're compiling all your information in your deep dive in one place so that you could review it in whole. This should take anywhere from 2 to 6 hours depending on how much data you actually have in your ad account, but you should know meticulously everything that's going on at this stage. This is your very first deep dive and something that's going to be a regular practice when managing a Google account. And once we've done that deep dive, we're going to have takeaways. The first thing that I want you to action on is your exclusions of search terms. Any search terms that you see in your Performance Max campaign or anything else that you're running, this is your opportunity to make sure the bad junk keywords are excluded properly. And then the exciting part about level 2, we are actually launching more campaigns. At this stage, I'm under the assumption that we are increasing our budget slightly. And if we're actually committed to using Google Ads as a growth platform, which it absolutely is, then the next thing we need to do is launch non-branded search and potentially branded search, depending on how big your brand is. Both of these campaigns are native search campaigns, meaning we're only showing up in the search feed, and they're going to be fundamental to capturing demand in our market. Let's say you sell running shoes. Now, this is a hyper competitive category, but stick with me for this example. You want to make sure your Performance Max campaign is making sure you're in that shopping feed, and then the search campaigns are actually showing up either in the first or the second slot of the actual search result. This is key. You're now taking up a lot of space or a lot of real estate on that first page of Google, which is where 95+% of the clicks go. And after we've set up the non-brand search campaign, the brand campaign, and we already have our legacy bestsellers Performance Max campaign that's active, it's time to finally implement a target return on ad spend. Now, automated bidding strategies or target return on ad spends in Google Ads are very complicated, although they seem simple on the outside. The biggest mistake I see when people set these up for the very first time is that they just set their target to an imaginary number. They say, oh, I want a 5x return on ad spend, so let me put 500% in there and go about my day, and it's just going to do it for me. If it was that simple, everyone would set a 1,000,000x ad spend and everyone would be rich, but it's not. It doesn't work that way. The way that we actually need to do it here is we need to make sure that our target return on ad spend is set equal to what our return on ad spend has been over the last 14 to 30 days. For example, if over the last 30 days in your ad account, you have a 2.5 return on ad spend, go into your campaign that you're setting your target return on ad spend for and set it for the first time to a 2.5 or 250%. We do not want to overshoot the first time we're setting a target return on ad spend. Now, I'll give you a little bonus here. As you scale, your target return on ad spends are going to need to be adjusted. We're going to do this in 2 different ways. First, if your campaign is spending in full, meaning you have a $100 budget and all $100 is being spent, and your ROAS target is being hit, meaning you have a 2 ROAS target and you're getting a 2.5 plus, then you have 2 options. First, you could either increase your spend and therefore keep the same target return on ad spend, or you could either keep your spend where it is and increase your target return on ad spend. Both of these naturally are going to drive more revenue. One's going to be more efficient. The other one is going to be a scaling strategy. And now that I've built a semi-complex structure, I am working on optimizing my ad accounts. I'm putting in exclusions. I'm making sure that I'm setting proper target return on ad spends. It's now time to enter level 3, which is scale and iterate. This is the most important stage if I actually want to take things to the next level. Anyone could probably spend $100 a day in Google Ads, but taking things to the $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 per day thresholds take a lot of mastery and a lot of skill. And in fact, some of the things that I'm going to recommend in level 3 are not even in the Google Ads platform. This is the first time where we're going to be merging what's happening in the Google Ads platform into other places so that we could actually digest and understand what on earth is going on in this ultra complicated platform. So to kick off level 3, the first thing that I would do is I would go through every single ad in my entire ad account, everything that has run since I started, and I would look at all of my ad copy, all of my creative, anything that has run, and I would make iterations of whatever is the best, and I would cut whatever's not working. Now, I literally mean things that are not working are not getting impressions, they're not getting spend, they're not getting clicks, remove them from the ad account and replace them with different variations of what is actually working the best. And the second thing I do, which is maybe the most critical thing that you can do, especially now in 2025 and in 2026, I'd imagine probably the biggest things that we can do is optimizing our feeds. So our feeds are connecting our product data from Shopify to Google Merchant Center to Google. This is ultimately what the customer is seeing at the very, very end point. Now, the thing about your feed is that it actually informs what search terms show up. For example, in Performance Max campaigns and shopping campaigns, I can't actually decide what search terms I want to show up on. It automatically and dynamically does it based on the attributes that the feed holds, mostly product title, image, and site experience. And so that's why every single brand searches on slightly different search terms. Even if you have the same title, things are a little bit different based on the customer experience. And if you have different titles, that's also going to be another factor. So the key point here is this is the first time I'm going to be taking a close look at all of my titles and everything that's running in this ad account on the feed. I want to make sure my titles are set up in a way that are well beyond all of my competitors. Think about it like this. If I had a product that was one word or a special name that I specifically called it versus a very descriptive product title, which one do you think is going to get more relevant search terms? Of course, the descriptive product title is going to, right? It's getting fed into an AI. It's not like someone's looking at the product, thinking about it, and then thinking who to serve the ad to. No, it's instant. It gets pushed into an AI algorithm, and it's trying to use all the information it has to serve it to the most relevant person in that very split second. And once I've optimized and iterated very heavily on my ads and my feed, the next thing that I'm doing is manual bidding. This is the hottest topic in Google Ads, and nearly nobody does it. It is shocking how few people actually do this. And I want to make sure that everyone really understands this concept because it is so critical. There are thousands of levers that you can pull in your Google Ads account. Age, gender, demographic, time of day of week, platform placement, landing page, the list goes on and on. This is the first time that I'm actually going to be looking through that data at level 3 and making a decision on if I should exclude different genders, different ages, different kinds of people, different audiences. This is the first time we want to actually refine who we're targeting, because ultimately the job of Google Ads and any advertising platform and any media buyer is to make sure the spend is being spent on the most profitable place. It's not just about spending a lot of money and making some money back. No, it's about spending where it's most likely to make the most return back for you. I would want to take this time to actually eliminate certain ages, eliminate certain genders, take the piece of the pie that's driving 80% of the results, keep that, nurture that, and cut out the 80% of crap that's only driving 20% of the revenue. That's really important. The last and one of the most important parts in level 3, and really technically could apply to any level and well beyond, is you need to have aggregated, consolidated reporting. Reporting is one of the most important things when it comes to Google Ads, and without it, you're stuck always checking your ad account and checking every single campaign every single day to make sure that everything's going well. Yes, fine Monday through Friday. Yes, fine when you're really in the weeds, but if you're a business owner, you're going to be pulled 100 different ways, and you need to make sure that your reporting is dialed in very clean so that you can check it every single day. I highly recommend you do this in Google Sheets. For all the clients that we work with, we do this in Google Sheets with automated reporting that we pull through Supermetrics. It gets complicated fast, but you need to have daily trackers, weekly trackers, monthly trackers, and yearly trackers. You need to make sure you're pacing to the goals that we started to set all the way in level 1 and should be expanded on all throughout your journey. So there it is, 3 levels that I would personally do if I was building an ad account right now over a long period of time. If I was in this for the long haul, if I wanted to grow a real business using Google Ads, those 3 levels, just just go optimize and scale is exactly how I would do it. And in fact, it's how we do it for many brands already at the Moonlighters. If you're running Google ads, then there's a really good chance that you're running Facebook ads or looking to run Facebook ads. And there's been a boatload of changes, massive changes on the Facebook ad side in 2025. So click this video right here. We can go through the most recent strategy, structure, and system that I use on Facebook ads. And if you don't like Facebook ads, if you're not running Facebook ads or not planning to, then click this video on this side where I'm going to go through my more advanced structure, system, and strategy that we use on the Google side. And like always, I hope you got value out of this video. Let me know in the comments below if there's any questions, comments at all, and I will see you all in the next one.